Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christine Chen. You're watching Esalen Live on Facebook Live, where we connect with change agents, swim deep waters, and wander around the edge a little bit. Joining us today, we're so honored, Geronimo Calderon. He is an Ashoka Fellow and board member of the Joseph Campbell Foundation. He's also the co-author of the Happy Lab Playbook. And all the research and design centers around learning from nature, science, and ancestral wisdom traditions to redefine system transformation. It's all the work that he does. So thank you so much for joining us, Geronimo. We really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. How are you today?
Of course, it's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Um, well, how am I today? It's a powerful question to start. I think I feel radically alive. There is a whole range of emotions that I could access right now to express what I and what we are experiencing in these incredible times.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so many people feel exactly the way that you do and how you expressed yourself just then. Um, Part of what we're doing is trying to be well. The word health, the state of well-being, it's more powerful than ever before that we're dealing with everything right now that we're dealing with. Can you define your concept of well-being? I mean, it might be different from before than it is now, so go ahead and explore that.
Yeah, and I'll just as a little disclaimer or preamble to that. Um, there are many people who speak through me, and I really want to honor the fact that um, there it is much easier for me, given my gender, given my ethnicity, given my ability to articulate my ideas, to use these kinds of platforms to share what I'm learning. And yet I want to be really clear about the fact that what I'm sharing is it's just an exploration. There's nothing that I own here. And I will try as much as possible to actually speak and honor the sources, the teachers that have shared with me the gift of their teachings. And so when it comes to a definition of well-being, I've actually just had maybe a few days ago a conversation with two brilliant young leaders of the climate strike movement, um, Jan and Michelle, and we were talking about that, and I just loved what Michelle shared, and she said it really depends on my daily form, on how I wake up. And so I would love to just resist the temptation of giving a definition that is like a one size fits it all for any given moment, or any given person. It's something to be explored, and something that really helps me with that, the feeling into, is a concept that was shared with me by a mentor, Fernando Wanakuni Mamani, from the Aymaran wisdom tradition. And it's called Hayaya. Hayaya is a word in Aymara. Ha means the equilibrium, Lia means one side, Lia means the other side. And so essentially it's the act of balancing. It's not trying to find the balance, but balancing, knowing that the balance is the perfection that we'll never reach, of listening to what we truly need and recognizing that how I feel and what I need can never be separate from how others and other are feeling and what they need. And so it's, how do I strike that balance in any given moment between the inner equilibrium and the outer harmony? I think that's the quest or the exploration around well-being.
About interconnectedness. Our future is so dependent and requires us to really wrap our heads around how we affect each other, just so you said right there, and an understanding of the impact of our actions upon each other. Is that where the intersection of well-being and well-doing is for you? And how is that playing out during this time of COVID? It's such a strange time for all of us. So I imagine that there's a different take on it that you might have now versus a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure, most certainly. I think what this prompts or what it invites in, what it provokes in me is um, a deeper inquiry of the separation we're creating between being and doing. And I think there is one of these many polarities where we think it's an either or. I mean, I either am or I do, and especially when it comes to well-being and to well-doing. I come from the field of social activism, and so I've always been focusing on the well-doing, and a lot of us have been, and we're so preoccupied with the well-being of other people that we are willing to sacrifice our own well-being for the well-being of others. And a lot of activists are burning out as a consequence of that. And it's actually not sustainable. They just add themselves to the pool of people that need to be supported. Mm. And on the other hand, I see, as I got introduced to the field of well-being, what I observed is that it's kind of a bottomless fountain that you enter, and you can just dig deeper and deeper and deeper in terms of all of the trauma that is available for you to heal. And that can become a very self-absorbing, almost narcissistic exercise where it's only about you. And you completely lose touch with all of the other. And there's this illusion that we can heal by ourselves. I can heal myself. I can heal my trauma by myself. I find that fascinating. And I realized that there is a real opportunity for us to see where the two come together. So it's what I was speaking to before. And where I feel like the new kind of doing is becoming, and the new kind of being is belonging. And so it's a mixing of the two really coming together, and knowing that you can't just do one. Both need each other deeply and profoundly. And in these times, is becoming, I think, more evident than ever, because we are aware that how I act, how I behave, has a direct impact on my neighbors, safety or health, and vice versa. So we're recognizing that profound interdependence that is there.
How do we prevent?
What I'm sensing is,
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We have a little bit of a delay. How do you prevent this process then of so much thinking about how you're showing up, how your well-being is, and how it intersects with well-doing, preventing this personal transformation from becoming self-absorbing? Because the interconnectedness has to continue, but you do have to do the work. Right. So, and is this the perfect time for personal transformation? We're looking inward more than ever.
Absolutely. This is the moment, if you can afford it. Right. And I think this is the beauty. And this is where I want to call everyone who is hearing this or listening. I want to call you in. There has been enough calling out of privilege in a way that just provokes defensive reactions. I think it's the time for us to call each other in when we have the privilege to actually be able to consider the possibility of engaging in personal development. Then I think that becomes, that is actually our responsibility of these times, is to show up for that. Because as we do that, as we engage in that, as we nurture ourselves, we are charging ourselves up. We're receiving the kind of energy that we need to then stand up in the difficult moments where we are asked to take care of what we believe in, and to stand up for those things, and to engage in activities that might drain our energy, because it's tough to stand up to the status quo. It's tough to challenge the injustices that are taking place right now. It takes courage, and it requires us to be like really healthy and well. Mm-hmm. So, and that then in turn allows other people, to offers them the space to feel safer, and it starts a virtuous circle where one feeds the other.
Mm-hmm. And then we are back to that concept of interconnectedness. Can you lead us through an exercise? I know that you have so many of them where we can start to feel what you're talking about. Be a little bit more grounded in our ability to tap into this. Would you mind? Geronimo, go ahead and lead us in an exercise if you don't
Absolutely.
mind. Yeah. And obviously, let me know how I can support you if there's anything I can do to support this
All
process for you.
right. Yeah. Can you hear me again
Absolutely. Yes, we can hear you.
now? I love we call him El Coyote, the sacred clown, the trickster, that intervenes in the right moment
Uh,
to
we can
add a
hear
little
you.
bit more tension.
Yeah. We got
Wonderful.
you. We
Well,
got you.
beautiful. Well, I would love to share a little, an invitation really that is rooted in the teachings of an Aymara grandmother, Viviana Mamani Chacolia, as it was related to me by my mentor, Fernando. And essentially, it's connecting to the cycle of knowing how to receive and knowing how to give. Summa Churanya and Summa Katukanya. And it's very simple. I should ask you to take a comfortable seat. Great thing to do is to lift your shoulders, like pull them up to your ears, and then push them back and let them fall so your chest opens up. And you can keep your eyes open, and I also invite you to close them. And just imagine yourself in a lush environment, out in a forest in deep air. And we start by breathing out and just letting all of the air go. And now we breathe in all of the oxygen that forest is gifting us unconditionally, just receiving. And hold the breath. Let the gift fill us up and nurture us. And then we exhale through the mouth. And as we exhale, we offer the gift back, exhaling carbon dioxide that in turn the trees are breathing in. And we stay in the emptiness of the gift until we're ready to receive again. And we breathe in fully into our bellies, into our chests, and hold the breath, receiving and honoring the gift. And we release again. Fully engaging in the cycle, the symbiosis of receiving and giving back. I'm going to do one last time, breathing in fully into our bellies, into our chest. Hold and release. Thank you so much. It's just 3 breaths of connecting to, these cycles that are around us. And I think this is what we're invited to practice every day, wherever we are, witnessing and listening to what do I need right now and what am I willing to offer back.
Geronimo, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for leading us in that exercise and that breathing practice. Is this something that you do every single day? Is there a specific ritual that's been helping you during this time?
Absolutely. Yeah, it is a special time. So there are a lot of provocations and there are a lot of moments where I feel anger, and that it are the same people who have been paying for centuries who are again the ones who are the most exposed by the injustices of the situation. And just connecting to the breath and understanding that there are much larger transformations that are being kicked off really helps big time.
Mm.
So
Is
I
there
can
a
return the trust.
Was there a particular person or a particular event in your life that inspired you to do this work? It's hard sometimes to pinpoint it down to just one, but could you give us an idea? It's deep work.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
it's ironic. Yeah, it's ironic because the one that just instantly came to mind um, actually happened at Esalen on these sacred lands. It was after a week of initiation into inner work as part of a bigger program called the Wellbeing Project that initiated social change leaders to inner work. And it was the first time that I really did it. I was so reluctant to it. Like I only believed in science, and people are trying to touch me and speaking about my feelings. I was like, "What is going on here?" But yeah, I fully engaged in it. And at the end of this week, I was engaging in a ritual with the four waters of Esalen. And after that, meditating. And there was a deep question that came up with me, which is like, what is this? What is this miracle in which that we call life? And I had earlier said that I don't know. And as I walked up the stairs from that water ritual, suddenly there was this voice that came. I just heard it from far away, and it said, "You know." And as that sank in, it just felt like the whole universe exploded in me in that moment. And I couldn't breathe any longer. I almost fell down the stairs. My mind was freaking out. It was telling me, you're going crazy now. You're losing it. And this can't be. And it was the moment where for the first time I truly experienced the interconnection of everything that is. Physically experienced it. It wasn't just the tales of my grandparents, trying to teach me what I couldn't understand.
Right.
And that has changed everything.
We have so many conversations about human potential in the Esalen family. Uh, and there is something that you want to share with our family, which is the Happy Lab Playbook, and a way that they can go through this process on their own, kind of work through some of this. Can you describe it? And I will post the link as well.
Yeah, well, it's I think it's less a map and there are less answers than there are a lot of questions and provocations in that playbook that where we're sharing essentially key insights from experiments we ran around that. And it's the invitation really is to move from the human potential movement that is still very anthropocentric, that still puts the human actually at the center of all of this, to a collective potential movement where we recognize that we as humans are not above nature, we're not above the animals, we are one with all of it. And these times call us forth to play the role of the real ally. And so, yeah, I think it's an invitation to just check it out, get inspired, and start your own experiments, because this is really what we're being asked to do right now, is to question the very foundations of the assumptions upon which we're building our lives. What it means to be human, what it means to be happy, what it means to be healthy, what it means to be wealthy, how we define success, really. And as a consequence, how we treat ourselves and how we treat others, creating new spaces for us to change how we relate and thereby create new possibility.
Well, on that note, thank you so much, Geronimo Calderon, for joining us, leading us through that beautiful breathing exercise and bringing some meaning to our daily breaths if we're so lucky to have them in general every single day. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. We'll be posting the link to the Happy Lab Playbook to help guide people in their personal work. Any final thoughts about what's bringing you a sense of awe these days?
Just the fact that there are so many wonders and miracles that had to happen for us to be able to have this conversation. Since the Big Bang, like how unlikely is this to happen? And in every ordinary moment, I have the opportunity, if I just turn my mind off for a moment and I focus and how unlikely this moment is to happen, from all of the planets that are out there, for life to exist here, and for me to have been born, and to be able to have cognition, to think, to even imagine that. That is just wow. And I think it's the greatest gift to be alive, and to be alive in this moment where we're called forth to take care of that gift for many more generations to come.
Mhm. It has been a gift to be with you this afternoon, Geronimo. Take care, and we'll see you very soon when Esalen reopens, okay?
Thank you. I'm already looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.